led by China near its waters. Theft of coffee beans is increasing in the U.S. due to Russia's inspections on China-Europe rail freight are leading to delays. Argentina has sent military forces to address a large fishing swarm led by China near its waters. Theft of coffee beans is increasing in the U.S. due to rising prices.
BlackRock's Fink warns that Trump's deportations will significantly affect agriculture and construction. HSBC reassesses its European stock outlook, lowering its U.S. expectations due to reconsideration of Trump optimism. In the United States, Representatives Ocasio-Cortez and Luna propose a bill to limit credit card interest rates to a maximum of 10%. In the United States, Homeland Security has revamped its asylum phone application, which is now intended for self-deportation. A Justice Department official claims she was dismissed for opposing the reinstatement of Mel Gibson's gun rights. Tulsi Gabbard has withdrawn security clearances for several high-ranking Biden officials and individuals who criticize Trump.
Reuters has announced that CoreWeave has secured a $12 billion cloud contract from OpenAI, according to sources, prior to the company's IPO. Additionally, Reuters reports that Meta is initiating the testing of its inaugural AI training chip developed internally. Furthermore, Roche and Zealand Pharma have entered into a $5.3 billion agreement concerning a novel obesity drug candidate.
Reportedly, startups starting to compete with big tech for India AI talent. Amazon, Google, and Meta support tripling of nuclear capacity by 2050. Geothermal could meet 64% of hyperscale data center power demand, as per a study. The United States will remain a crucial player in the global climate change efforts, even in the absence of Donald Trump, according to the president of COP30. A recent study suggests that the Earth's atmosphere is contracting, which heightens the dangers associated with space debris. This is because climate change is expected to decrease the number of satellites that can safely orbit the planet. Additionally, Relativity has appointed Eric Schmidt as its new CEO while simultaneously advancing the development of its Terran R rocket.
Sony Music reports the removal of more than 75,000 items in its ongoing efforts to combat AI deepfakes. Scale AI is under investigation due to claims that it is not adequately compensating its data labeling contractors. A leaked internal Sony video features Horizon's Alloy to demonstrate an AI-powered prototype of a PlayStation character.
On GitHub, NTT acknowledged that hackers obtained details of nearly 18,000 corporate customers during a cyber attack. Federal authorities connected a $150 million cyber hiss to the 2022 LastPass hacks.
Carlos Slim has decided to sever his connection with Elon Musk's Starlink, and is instead investing a substantial $22 billion in establishing his own independent network. In a separate development, Airtel has declared a partnership with SpaceX to introduce Starlink's high-speed internet services to its customer base in India. Meanwhile, Elon Musk is attempting to arrange a meeting with the Italian president in an effort to rescue the Starlink deal, following reports from 7 days ago that Italy is becoming hesitant about proceeding with the agreement to utilize Musk's Starlink.
Lee used a line of soldiers to prevent direct eye contact with Mark Zuckerberg, according to a new book. Additionally, a former executive claims that Facebook employees would intentionally lose board games against Zuckerberg. During the 2 sessions in Beijing, there are indications of increased protections for delivery riders. Meanwhile, Deliveroo has withdrawn from Hong Kong due to pressure from Meituan and Zap, and Uber has halted its acquisition of Delivery Hero's Taiwan Foodpanda business because of regulatory challenges. Ukraine has accepted a 30-day ceasefire in exchange for weapons from the United States. Meanwhile, Poland is seeking 100,000 volunteers to undergo military training in 2027. Ursula von der Leyen, President of the European Commission, advises that governments should utilize EU loans to purchase goods from European manufacturers. Additionally, Bloomberg highlights that Estonia's startups are finding opportunities in Europe's rapid rearmament efforts.
California prisons restrict inmate movement following a series of 7 homicides. Redfin reveals that the top 1% of wealthiest Americans have the financial capability to purchase 99% of the homes available in the country. The increasing worldwide demand for matcha is causing a shortage in Japan.
Spain is set to implement significant penalties for failing to label content created by artificial intelligence. In the European Union, Apple and Meta have managed to steer clear of fines that could have reached up to 10% of their global revenue, instead encountering only minor sanctions. Meanwhile, Google has updated its Chrome extension policies in response to the Honey link scandal, now imposing restrictions on questionable affiliate extensions such as Honey.
In the United States, Senator Cynthia Lummis has reintroduced the Bitcoin Act, which proposes enabling the country to purchase $80 billion worth of Bitcoin. Meanwhile, Coinbase has registered with India's Financial Intelligence Unit and intends to launch crypto trading services within the year. Additionally, Thailand has given the green light for USDT and USDC to be traded on cryptocurrency exchanges.
TikTok plans to implement a 10 p.m. curfew for the majority of teenagers. LEGO is establishing an in-house game development team, creating a new studio. Waymo is providing round-the-clock robotaxi services in Silicon Valley.
Elon Musk has stated that Doge cryptocurrency is present in nearly every federal agency, and intends to increase the staff by a factor of 2. Meanwhile, Harvard University has decided to halt its hiring process amid threats from Donald Trump to withdraw funding. Additionally, Reuters has reported that Trump is considering the establishment of minerals refining facilities on Pentagon bases to enhance the United States' production capabilities, according to sources.
During a speech at Harvard, the former Prime Minister of Israel humorously suggested he would provide protesters with exploding pagers. A comedian who made disparaging remarks about Puerto Rico at a Trump rally has secured a deal with Netflix. China is set to convene Russia and Iran for discussions on nuclear matters, coinciding.
Canada reverses its decision on the U.S. electricity tax as Trump plans to increase tariffs. Recently, Trump raised Canadian steel and aluminum tariffs to 50% in response to Ontario's energy duties and imposed new tariffs on Canada, renewing his 51st state demands. Trump's 25% tariffs on steel and aluminum imports are implemented, prompting Europe to retaliate with EU countermeasures targeting U.S. goods worth $28 billion. Australia decides against a reciprocal action on the U.S. after Trump enforces steel tariffs.
$8 billion in public funds with a single Excel spreadsheet, raised.
Ballista botnet takes advantage of unpatched TP-Link vulnerability, affecting more than 6,000 devices. Android applications containing North Korean spyware discovered on Google Play. FCC establishes a national security unit to address state-sponsored threats to U.S. telecommunications. 404 Media reports the extensive list of over 200 sites being monitored by an IC surveillance contractor.
A comprehensive report on the next-generation Xbox is expected to be released in 2027, while an Xbox-branded gaming handheld is anticipated to launch later in 2025. Within just 1 week, Saudi Arabia has acquired Pokémon Go and a significant portion of Street Fighter's esports industry. Microsoft's latest innovation, the Xbox Copilot, will serve as an AI gaming coach.
Greenland's gradual
rules. A UN probe declared the Israel attack on a Gaza IVF clinic a genocidal act. Migrants still at Guantanamo Bay have been relocated to Louisiana for deportation, with Trump considering the Wartime Alien Enemies Act of 1798 to facilitate these deportations back to Guantanamo.
The New Republic states that Trump's FBI is taking steps to criminally charge significant climate organizations, and the EPA head intends to reverse numerous environmental regulations, among them those concerning climate change. Bill Gates' climate group has reduced its policy teams in the US and Europe.
Research indicates that 1 in 15 adults in the United States has personally encountered a mass shooting. A study has discovered connections between hostile tweets and the individual's upbringing as well as legal issues. Meanwhile, millions of individuals are joyfully participating in Holi, the vibrant Hindu festival of colors.
Binance receives its largest investment ever in the cryptocurrency sector, with Abu Dhabi SMGX committing $2 billion. According to WSJ, the Trump family has engaged in discussions with Binance after the crypto exchange's guilty plea. An administrator of Garantex has been apprehended in India at the behest of U.S. authorities.
Putin calls for the army to liberate the Kursk region while Ukraine retreats. Reuters indicates that Russia seeks proposals from companies for sanctions relief. The Kremlin communicated to the U.S. that it did not wish for Trump's Ukraine-Russia envoy to participate in peace talks.
Astronomers have found 128 new moons around Saturn. Unlike Earth, Mars's middle atmosphere seems to be influenced by gravity waves. The rescue of stranded astronauts is postponed due to a launch cancellation by SpaceX and NASA.
Meta AI achieves 80% accuracy in reconstructing typed sentences from brain activity. Apple is developing an AirPods feature capable of live translating conversations. IBM's CEO believes AI will not replace programmers in the near future.
Khalil takes legal action against Colombia and lawmakers to maintain the confidentiality of activists' names, while Jewish demonstrators inundate Trump Tower's lobby to call for Mahmoud Khalil's release. Yale halts a Palestine activist following an AI article associating her with terrorism. In the United States, prestigious universities are implementing stricter budgets and limiting admissions due to federal funding instability, and Harvard has paused hiring as Trump contemplates withdrawing funding.
Elon Musk claims that Doge is present in nearly all federal agencies and intends to increase the staff by twofold. Doge suggests reducing the IRS workforce by approximately 20%. Elon Musk secretly visits the NSA after stating the agency requires an overhaul. A U.S. judge mandates that Doge and Musk provide records related to cost-cutting measures. Reuters indicates that Trump is aiming to establish minerals refining operations on Pentagon bases to enhance U.S. production, according to sources. Dollar General alerts that the financial situation of low-income Americans is deteriorating. Citigroup intends to significantly reduce IT contractors and hire employees to enhance controls.
Collaborate on defense and arms production. A week ago, it was noted that markets are eager for EU war bonds, and Poland's president is calling on the U.S. to relocate nuclear warheads to Polish soil. Lukashenko claims that Americans lack a strategy for conflict in Ukraine. Meanwhile, Putin supports a U.S.-crafted ceasefire proposal but mentioned
Publishers and authors file a lawsuit against Meta for using copyright works in AI training.
Mozilla claims that Google's final remedy proposal in the U.S. DOJ case will negatively impact independent browsers. 13 months ago, iRobot, the maker of Roomba, expressed substantial doubt about its ability to continue after Amazon terminated their deal, leading to a 31% staff layoff. UB Tech from China introduces a $41,000 humanoid robot as part of its effort to create more affordable machines.
Japanese scientists have successfully produced a large number of cells for sperm and eggs using human-induced pluripotent stem cells. Beam's base editing therapy has demonstrated proof of concept in a rare lung disease. Research indicates that brain aging undergoes non-linear transitions, pointing to a midlife critical window for metabolic intervention. SoftBank and OpenAI will operate AI agents at the former Sharp LCD plant. The Financial Times highlights that DeepSeek prioritizes research over profit, unlike Silicon Valley. Singapore prosecutors reveal that a U.S. server fraud case includes $390 million in transactions. 3 weeks ago, 3 men were charged with fraud, and the cases are connected to the suspected relocation of NVIDIA chips.
BBC executives argue that the World Service should receive complete state funding to combat disinformation. Meanwhile, Newsmax has agreed to pay $40 million to settle a defamation lawsuit related to the 2020 election. Additionally, Meta's community notes will incorporate open-source technology developed by Elon Musk's X. Comcast secures a $3 billion agreement to retain the rights to the Olympics until 2036. Spotify introduces an initiative to release audiobooks by independent authors. The unproduced Star Wars Underworld television series by George Lucas was estimated to have a production cost exceeding $2.4 billion.
Zuckerberg. Huawei lobbyists detained in Belgium during raids related to EU corruption. China establishes a secure quantum satellite communication link with South Africa.
Musk suggests Stalin and Hitler were not responsible for the millions of deaths. It was public sector employees who did. Trump accuses Schumer of being a Palestinian while justifying GOP spending bill, egg prices, and tariff policy. Washington Examiner observes that America is going through a Christian awakening.
Brazil is felling thousands of trees in the Amazon to construct a road for COP30. Japan is selling off emergency rice reserves due to rising prices. A study reveals that unoccupied housing in China's cities is releasing significant amounts of carbon.
A river in Zambia suddenly ceased to flow due to an acidic waste spill from a Chinese-owned mine, leading to an environmental disaster on the Kafue River. The rising price of gold is pushing narcos into illegal mining in the Amazon. Mexicans are demanding explanations following the discovery of bones and shoes at a cartel camp.
Ted Lasso renewed for Season 4, Jason Sudeikis returning. Netflix's most expensive movie ever, The Electric State, is a dumb, unfunny $320 million flop. A documentary analyzes Street Fighter II's cultural impact, 30-plus years later.
NASA analysis shows unexpected amount of sea level rise in 2024. Melting Antarctic ice sheets will slow Earth's strongest ocean current, and Earth's strongest ocean current could slow down by 20% by 2050 in a high-emissions future. At least 32 dead as tornadoes sweep through parts of U.S.
Trump promises to reveal his adversaries in a political speech at the Justice Department, labeling CNN and MSNBC as illegal for their negative reporting. Trump refers an 18th-century law to expedite deportations, but a judge halts it shortly after, as the White House declared the invocation of the Alien Enemies Act concerning the Tren de Aragua invasion of the United States. Additionally, Trump annuls nearly 20 executive orders from the Biden administration.
The Justice Department is considering terrorism charges against pro-Palestinian demonstrators at Columbia University. In the United States, more than 50 universities are being investigated under Trump's campaign against DEI initiatives. A woman involved in a protest at Columbia University was detained for immigration violations, while another individual chose to self-deport, according to DHS. Ukraine's President Zelensky expresses optimism about concluding the war. Following a request from Trump, Putin announces he will allow Ukrainian troops in Kursk to remain if they surrender. Zelensky denies any encirclement of Ukrainian troops in Russia's Kursk region, accusing Putin of deceit. Trump clarifies he was being somewhat sarcastic when he claimed he could end the Russia-Ukraine war.
AI researchers doubt that current models will result in artificial general intelligence. A Japanese startup, Sakana, creates the world's first AI-generated paper, which successfully undergoes peer review. Experiments suggest that ChatGPT is seen as more empathetic than human crisis responders. Foxconn supports AI servers following a decline in profits and predicts robust growth in AI server demand by 2025. JP Morgan engineers experience a 20% increase in efficiency due to a coding assistant. TechCrunch notes confusion about the definition of an AI agent. Amazon will no longer allow users to opt out of sending Echo voice recordings to the cloud, with all Echo interactions being sent to Amazon beginning March 28.
Baidu, a Chinese company, introduces a new, complementary AI model to challenge DeepSeek. Meanwhile, Sesame, the entity responsible for the popular virtual assistant Maya, unveils its foundational AI model. Additionally, China mandates the labeling of online content produced by AI. Will Smith is planning to release his first full-length album in more than 2 decades, titled Based on a True Story, which is scheduled for a March 2025 debut. Meanwhile, Sony is developing a reboot of Starship Troopers, with Neil Blomkamp set to direct a new adaptation of the science fiction novel. Additionally, Stephen Curry has made history as the first NBA player to achieve 4,000 three-pointers.
In the U.S., the housing market is tightening, with the income required to purchase a typical home increasing by 79% over the past 5 years. Bloomberg indicates that Gen Z Americans lack sufficient savings to cover even a single month of expenses. Additionally, in the U.S., a staggering $12.5 billion was reported lost to scams and fraud in 2024, disproportionately affecting older adults. Chinese scientists have engineered E. coli to become photosynthetic. MIT engineers have successfully converted skin cells directly into neurons for use in cell therapy. The spraying of water microdroplets creates luminescence and initiates chemical reactions in the adjacent gas, with tiny micro-lightning flashes within water droplets potentially having ignited life on Earth.
RCS Update introduces end-to-end encryption, with Google and Apple confirming their support. Apple will soon enable encrypted RCS messaging with Android users. An internet breakthrough sees the unveiling of the world's first operating system for quantum networks, QNOT-OS, which is the first of its kind and sets the stage for future quantum applications. A Chinese team has officially reported on Zukanzi 3.0, claiming a speed-up of 1 million times over Google's Sycamore.
Herbs ranging from Iran to Pakistan. Memo. In the U.S., State Department imposes sanctions on Thai officials after Uyghur men are deported to China. Bill to block Chinese student visas is introduced in U.S. Congress.
Japan's Supreme Court sets the stage for the Unification Church's dissolution. Indonesia starts discussions on permitting soldiers to hold civilian positions. Cloudflare's CAPTCHA system seems to obstruct specialized browsers like Pale Moon.
Joby is set to introduce an air taxi service in the UK in collaboration with Virgin Atlantic. Tesla is considering a more affordable version of the Model Y, and a self-driving upgrade to counteract the decline in sales in China. Waymo received almost 600 parking tickets in San Francisco last year. U.S. Weather Agency job cuts may threaten climate risk data, insurers caution. VOA journalists placed on administrative leave following Trump's decision to eliminate the parent agency, and Voice of America terminating contracts with Associated Press, Reuters, and Agence France Presse. Vance anticipates a significant TikTok deal by the April 5 deadline. Bloomberg notes that AI enthusiasm is spreading throughout China's political circles, boosting tech optimism, and that DeepSeek, a national treasure in China, is now under strict protection. In the U.S., the House GOP has issued subpoenas to major tech companies, seeking evidence that President Biden influenced AI to adopt progressive views. Additionally, the FBI and CISA have alerted that 1.8 billion Gmail accounts are potentially vulnerable to the Medusa ransomware. Observing scenes from nature has been shown to alleviate pain, according to a neuroimaging study. A midlife waist-to-hip ratio that is lower is associated with a longer duration of cognitive function. Research indicates that brief alterations in diet can result in obesity.
Delivery driver suffers severe burns from hot tea at Starbucks, receives $15 million compensation from LA jury. SpaceX reveals that not all dying Starlink satellites completely burn up upon re-entry. Sweden's Klarna announces a 24% revenue increase in its eagerly anticipated U.S. IPO filing.
ISIS leader in Iraq and Syria has been killed, according to the Iraqi Prime Minister. The United States has initiated significant airstrikes targeting Houthi positions in Yemen, resulting in at least 9 fatalities, as former President Trump declares decisive and powerful strikes on Yemen's Houthis, warning hell will rain down upon you. Acute malnutrition rates have increased by 2-fold within a single month in the northern region of the Gaza Strip, as reported by UNICEF.
Nationwide demonstrations are being organized following the detention of a former Columbia University activist by immigration enforcement. Hamas declares it will only free the American-Israeli hostage upon the execution of a ceasefire agreement, while Israel continues its military operations in Gaza despite the truce. A pro-Israel organization claims to possess a deportation list and has reportedly submitted thousands of names to Trump administration officials.
21 Shares plans to liquidate 2 Bitcoin and Ether futures ETFs due to the market downturn. Block is focusing on lending expansion following a stock slump 1 month ago, as reported by Reuters. Binance CEO suggests Trump might influence a global pro-crypto movement.
Crypto password cracking firm Unciphered faces turmoil due to co-founder's controversial past. Dual Russian and Israeli national extradited to the United States for his involvement in the Lockbit ransomware conspiracy. Pirate Bay financier and far-right activist Carl Lundstrom passes away in a plane crash.
EU plans to allocate $5 billion to South Africa following the withdrawal of U.S. aid. The Atlantic notes that Democrats in the U.S. face challenges with male representation. In the U.S., local funding for initiatives like airports and mentorship programs is vanishing amidst the budget conflict.
Conor McGregor's remarks on immigration at the White House have been criticized by the Irish Prime Minister. McGregor has expressed dissatisfaction with Ireland, labeling it an illegal immigration racket. Newsweek notes that the White House is celebrating St. Patrick's Day with a fighter who has been found guilty of civil rape. Meanwhile, Axios reports that MAGA supporters are already considering Vance for the 2028 presidential race. A month ago, The Hill mentioned that Vance is a strong favorite to succeed Trump in the PAC straw poll. Additionally, a French MEP has suggested returning the Statue of Liberty to the U.S., but the White House said it will not return the Statue of Liberty to France.
A federal report reveals that an increasing number of Americans with college degrees are holding multiple jobs. Previously, it was noted that over half of college graduates are employed in positions that do not necessitate a degree. Bloomberg highlighted that airlines and retailers in the U.S. are presenting a gloomy forecast for consumer demand. Additionally, Ferrari reports that its car buyers are becoming younger, with the CEO stating that 40% of new clients are now under the age of 40. Lastly, Harvard announced that tuition will be free for families earning $200,000 or less.
Strike results in the deaths of 27 individuals and injuries to 30 in a resistance stronghold. Georgia imposes an additional sentence of 4.5 years on former President Saakashvili for unlawfully crossing the border. Rwanda and Belgium expel each other's diplomatic representatives due to the ongoing conflict in the Congo.
A coalition of European tech industry leaders is urging for radical action to enhance digital sovereignty, beginning with a focus on purchasing local products. According to Bloomberg, Turkey is considering new regulations for big tech companies that could lead to a conflict with the United States. Meanwhile, Canada's new Prime Minister, Mark Carney, has declared that the country will never, ever become part of the US, as he aims to build alliances in Europe. Additionally, President Macron is advocating for the EU to prioritize European defense suppliers over those from the United States.
Kanye West releases a new track reportedly including Diddy, From Prison, Northwest, and Christian King Combs. Disney reduces the scale of the Snow White Hollywood premiere due to controversies involving Rachel Zegler and Gal Gadot, with the stars Gal Gadot and Rachel Zegler experiencing tension over the Israel-Palestine conflict. Suzanne Collins' editor suggests that a Hunger Games sequel is unlikely to happen.
Crypto exchange OKX halts DeFi service amid EU investigation, freezing Web3 platform following Bybit thieves laundering $100 million. Klarna, approaching IPO, secures profitable Walmart fintech partnership from competitor Affirm. PepsiCo plans to acquire prebiotic soda brand Poppi for approximately $2 billion.
Trump's World Liberty Financial Crypto Initiative announced the sale of $550 million worth of tokens. The Washington Examiner quotes Musk as claiming that Democrats spent $200 billion to purchase votes from illegal immigrants. Meanwhile, China and the UK have committed to collaborating on climate change issues, with a Chinese economist urging decisive action to step into the climate leadership void.
The Trump administration has restarted the detention of immigrant families following a pause during the Biden era. Eric Prince, the former CEO of Blackwater, asserts that the government requires assistance from the private sector to carry out deportations. Additionally, Doge has been granted access to the U.S. Institute of Peace following an overhaul of the board by the Trump administration.
Increase due to stricter U.S. controls. Alphabet creates a Starlink competitor called Tara. Elon Musk's Starlink extends its coverage throughout the White House complex.
Trump asserts that Biden's pardons for the January 6 committee are invalid due to the use of an autopen. An appeals court temporarily permits the Trump administration to implement a ban on DEI programs. In the United States, segregated facilities are no longer explicitly prohibited in federal contracts.
BYD introduces a battery system capable of charging EVs in just 5 minutes. Meanwhile, Audi is cutting 7,500 jobs and seems to be moving away from its EV-only strategy. Additionally, it was reported a month ago that Tesla's board chair has sold the majority of her shares in the company.
Describe AI slop as a crude assault on the algorithms governing reality. Numerous actors and Hollywood insiders have joined in an open letter, pleading with the government to refrain from using copyright laws for AI. Apple's Siri chief has labeled AI delays as unsightly and humiliating, assuring that solutions are forthcoming.
Zoom AI Companion enhances its capabilities throughout the Zoom platform by employing reasoning and memory to initiate actions and manage task execution, including conversational self-service and custom agent development. Over 45 new innovations have been unveiled. According to Adobe Analytics, Etsy and eBay are striving to replicate social media with highly personalized shopping experiences, as traffic to U.S. retail websites from generative AI sources has surged by 1,200%. Roblox is launching Roblox Cube, its fundamental generative AI system designed for 3D and 4D environments.
A recent study has discovered that exposure to heat can accelerate aging to a similar extent as smoking. Engaging in frequent blood donations encourages the regeneration of blood cells by facilitating genetic adaptation. Research indicates that marriage increases the risk of obesity in men by threefold, although this effect is not observed in women.
Akira ransomware can be decrypted using 16 RTX 4090 GPUs within approximately 10 hours. A significant PostgreSQL bug is linked to a zero-day attack on the U.S. Treasury. Consumer Reports, U.S. PIRG, Secure Resilient Future Foundation, and the Center for Democracy and Technology have introduced the Connected Consumer Products End-of-Life Disclosure Act to tackle IoT security concerns. Google collaborates with MediaTek to produce more affordable AI chips. Intel achieves a significant milestone with the initial production of 1.8 nanometers class wafers at its Arizona facility. Huawei is advancing in computer chip development as it distances itself from Intel and Windows. With the expiration of its Windows license for Huawei PCs, HarmonyOS may emerge as a potential alternative. Discord introduces an SDK to enhance social infrastructure and communication for games. Google transforms its Play Games app for PC into a competitor to Steam, while expanding PC game support and launching a new Earn Back initiative. In the UK, Ofcom declares the enforcement of the Online Safety Act, mandating platforms to begin addressing illegal material immediately. Amazon intends to eliminate 14,000 managerial roles to achieve a yearly savings of $3.5 billion. The 12-foot Twitter bird logo, originally located at the San Francisco headquarters, is being auctioned. The U.S. Postal Service is reaching out to Doge for assistance.
Brain stimulation. A new theory proposes that gravity might originate from entropy, potentially leading to a unified theory of physics, as gravity could emerge from the quantum nature of space. Restoration shows Churchill painting is 100 years older than listed. Research indicates that Greek and Roman statues were not only painted and decorated with textiles and jewelry, but also perfumed. Matt Rickman becomes the first American man to win the Los Angeles Marathon in 31 years.
U.S. Commerce Department bureaus prohibit the use of China's DeepSeek on government devices, according to sources. Baidu unveils its initial reasoning model, Ernie X1, amid intensifying AI competition. China's Vidu and Aura Productions announce a collaboration to premiere a sci-fi series featuring AI-generated anime shorts.
France warns of retaliation following Algeria's rejection of deportees. Peru announces an emergency and sends the army to the capital amid rising violence. M23 rebels exit Congo peace talks due to EU sanctions. Congo and Rwanda presidents convene in Qatar to address the Eastern Congo insurgency, with DR Congo and Rwanda urging a ceasefire in their discussions.
Shakespeare's birthplace is set to undergo decolonization due to concerns about white supremacy. Elon Musk describes Tesla protesters as deranged, suggesting they wish to harm him because of his involvement with the White House. Additionally, a site called DogeQuest alleges it is exposing Tesla owners throughout the United States. Ben & Jerry's has leveled accusations against its parent company, Unilever, claiming that the CEO was removed against their will because of the company's social mission.
Gazprom, once a dominant force in Russia, is now liquidating its upscale properties following a reported $12.9 billion loss. Meanwhile, the UK is aspiring to take a leadership role in climate finance, stepping in as the US retracts from its commitments. Additionally, the chief executive of COP30 has issued a stern warning that nations need to intensify their climate initiatives or face the potential for conflict.
The creator of Andor has decided not to release the episode scripts to the public, citing concerns that they might be utilized to train artificial intelligence software. He expressed his reluctance by saying, "Why help the FING robots?" Meanwhile, academics are criticizing AI startups for allegedly exploiting the peer review process to gain publicity. Just a week ago, Sakana announced that its AI-generated paper
Mars might contain a vast ocean of water underground, according to seismic data. Dust devils on Mars generate lightning like electrical discharges. Scientists have produced strong, flexible nylon, using engineered bacteria for the first time. Pursuing happiness can negatively affect limited resources and self-regulation. OpenAI warns that China might force DeepSeek to engage in harmful activities and advocates for a ban. Mark Zuckerberg announces that Meta's Llama models have achieved 1 billion downloads. NVIDIA introduces Isaac GR00TN1, the first open humanoid robot foundation model, along with simulation frameworks to accelerate robot development, enhancing generalized skills and reasoning in humanoid robots. NVIDIA, Google DeepMind, and Disney Research collaborate to create a next-generation open-source Newton physics engine.
Lego Pokémon will be available, with the initial sets expected in 2026. A procession of 897 dachshunds in Germany has set a new Guinness World Record. Marina Abramovic is planning to launch a 950-piece NFT collection. Trump's letter to Iran set a 2-month deadline for a new nuclear agreement. A week ago, a UAE official handed over a letter from Trump to Iran, encouraging nuclear discussions. Reuters indicates that the U.S. is pausing certain activities to combat Russian sabotage as Trump's relationship with Putin becomes more apparent. The Pentagon plans to reduce up to 60,000 civilian positions through buyouts and natural attrition.
NVIDIA's CEO, Huang, emphasizes that developing faster chips is the most effective method to lower AI expenses. He noted that AI currently requires 100 times more computation compared to the time of ChatGPT's release, which was just 1 month ago. Additionally, NVIDIA, along with Musk's xAI, is set to collaborate with Microsoft, BlackRock, and MGX to advance AI infrastructure. Furthermore, NVIDIA plans to invest hundreds of billions in the U.S. supply chain, according to its chief.
Trump is set to announce that illicit fentanyl will be classified as a weapon of mass destruction, according to a draft executive order. Meanwhile, Bloomberg has commented that the shutdown of Trump's app is actually beneficial to Mexico's cartels. Additionally, Chinese state media has praised Trump's reductions in funding for the Voice of America, with budget cuts to both the Voice of America and Radio Free Asia being met with approval from Chinese state media, who describe the cuts as discarding them like a dirty rag. Dance criticizes globalization of unfair practices, potentially provoking Trump. Google's Search and Play Store violate the Digital Markets Act rules, according to the EU, which also outlines how Apple must allow competitors access to its technology under the bloc's digital regulations. Europe aims to improve the compatibility of non-Apple smartwatches with iPhones. Speculation suggests that the EU's new charges against Google could result in fines of at least $35 billion. Apple argues that the EU's interoperability requirements provide unrestricted access to the iPhone, jeopardizing customer security and privacy.
Bangladesh apprehends the head of a Rohingya insurgent group on criminal allegations. Turkish law enforcement detains the mayor of Istanbul, a significant adversary of President Erdogan, amid intensifying government measures. An authoritarian crackdown results in 42,000 Kuwaitis being deprived of their nationality. Enforcement detains the mayor of Istanbul, a significant adversary of President Erdogan.
Numerous individuals deported by Trump's administration as alleged gang members reportedly lacked criminal records in the United States, according to ICE. The Department of Justice claims that Trump theoretically possesses the authority to remove all female heads of agencies or those over the age of 40. In the United States, scientists report that NIH officials instructed them to eliminate mRNA references from their grant applications.
Clearview AI, a facial recognition company, reportedly tried to purchase Social Security numbers and mugshots to expand its database. The company allegedly collected 30 billion images from platforms like Facebook and shared them with law enforcement, effectively placing everyone in a perpetual police lineup. Meanwhile, Meta has pledged to reduce false content and deepfakes in anticipation of the Australia election. Additionally, the Wall Street Journal noted that the conflict-ridden Congo has proposed a deal for Trump: eliminate rebels and receive minerals. This follows a report from 1 month ago stating that Congo offered minerals to the US and Europe in exchange for peace.
Budgerigar brains possess a vocal sound map similar to that of humans. A new study suggests that substituting butter with certain plant oils could substantially reduce the risk of death. New research raises concerns about a potential link between tattoo ink and an increased risk of cancer. Limp Bizkit's $200 million lawsuit proceeds as judge rejects Universal Music Group's dismissal motion. 4 months prior, Fred Durst and Limp Bizkit initiated a $200 million lawsuit against Universal Music, alleging unpaid royalties. Universal Music argued that the lawsuit is based on a fallacy and sought its dismissal. Norway Wealth Fund acquires a £570 million stake in Covent Garden. The Big Bang Theory spin-off receives a title focusing on Stewart.
Razer introduces the Wyvern platform for game developers, featuring an automated AI bug tester. General Motors plans to implement NVIDIA AI chips and software to automate vehicles and factory operations. Chinese cities are adopting DeepSeek-powered services to enhance smart governance.
Telegram's creator, Pavel Durov, announces that the app has reached 1 billion users and criticizes WhatsApp as a cheap, watered-down imitation. Google permits children to use Google Wallet for in-store purchases in certain nations. Huawei introduces a $1,000 foldable device that will operate on its self-created Harmony OS 5, as it promotes an alternative to Apple and Google.
Counterpoint indicates a 12% annual decrease in the global VR market in 2024, with AR plus AI smart glasses expected to dominate in 2025. Bloomberg suggests that Oracle is considering a security backstop and a minor stake to secure a TikTok deal. SoftBank plans to acquire Ampere, a Silicon Valley chip startup, for $6.5 billion.
Microsoft partners with a Swiss startup to create AI that mimics the human brain. Colorado, in the U.S., is now authorized to grant licenses to facilitators of psychedelic mushroom therapy. A review indicates that merely 10% of non-surgical treatments for back issues effectively alleviate pain.
Europe is seeking to attract researchers from the United States due to funding reductions under Trump's administration. Additionally, the Trump administration has temporarily halted $175 million in federal funding to the University of Pennsylvania because of its policy allowing transgender athletes to participate in women's sports. Meanwhile, Hungary's parliament has enacted a law prohibiting LGBTQ+ pride events.
Cyberscoop indicates that infostealers were responsible for cyber attacks and collected 2.1 billion credentials in 2024. The UK Cyber Agency proposes a 2035 deadline for transitioning to quantum-safe encryption, cautioning against potential threats. China's Baidu refutes allegations of a data breach following the unauthorized disclosure of personal information by an executive's daughter.
Poland and the Baltic countries are considering exiting the landmine treaty. Meanwhile, Italy and Spain are not yet prepared to back the allocation of €40 billion in military assistance to Ukraine. Additionally, Denmark's Prime Minister has cautioned EU leaders that J.D. Vance made a valid point regarding migration.
Privatization threats from Trump and Musk. According to Bloomberg, Trump is enamored with AI, yet his tariffs increase expenses for data centers. A dismissed FTC commissioner cautions against the corrupting influence of billionaires.
OpenAI has launched the O1 Pro API, which is its priciest product to date, designed specifically for developers. Meanwhile, Stability AI is in the process of developing the Stable Virtual Camera, a model that is still in the research preview stage. This innovative multi-view diffusion model has the capability to convert two-dimensional images into captivating three-dimensional videos, complete with realistic depth and perspective. Additionally, Tencent is presenting open-source AI models that have the potential to
Production of a digital euro is necessary to compete with stablecoins and the influence of large non-European technology companies. Meanwhile, in the United States, the Federal Reserve has decided to maintain its current interest rates while reducing its growth forecast for 2025. It is also reported that former President Trump is exerting pressure on the Fed to lower rates in an effort to mitigate the negative impact of tariffs. Additionally, the Securities and Exchange Commission has announced that proof-of-work cryptocurrency mining does not fall under the jurisdiction of securities laws.
Ford and N Plus have introduced electric bikes inspired by the Bronco and Mustang models. Additionally, LG is closing its NFT marketplace designed for televisions. Furthermore, a new food label titled Seed Oil Free Certified has been introduced.
Hegseth highlights an additional $580 million in defense spending reductions led by DOGE. The New York Times has reported that the Pentagon has arranged a briefing for Elon Musk regarding the possibility of a conflict with China. In contrast, Bloomberg has stated that Donald Trump has refuted the NYT's claim that Musk will be informed about the China war strategies. Following the NYT's report on the secretive briefing about China, Elon Musk has issued threats against those who leaked information to the Pentagon. Additionally, the Pentagon plans to reinstate the Navajo Code talkers on its website, with the White House attributing their previous removal to AI. Rebels supported by Rwanda have advanced in the eastern part of the Democratic Republic of Congo, which is known for its abundant mineral resources. In a separate incident, a terrorist attack in western Niger resulted in the deaths of at least 44 civilians. Meanwhile, Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu is taking steps to remove the head of domestic security due to a perceived lack of trust.
The United Kingdom is contemplating reducing its technology tax as a strategy to secure an exemption from the tariffs imposed by the United States. Meanwhile, the Irish economy is facing the potential impact of U.S. tariffs, which could result in a loss of over €18 billion in trade. Additionally, the United Arab Emirates has pledged to invest $1.4 trillion in the United States, as confirmed by the White House.
Apple's streaming services are incurring annual losses exceeding $1 billion. Netflix has announced a new competition series titled The Golden Ticket, inspired by Willy Wonka. Additionally, NVIDIA and Google DeepMind are collaborating to provide the technology for Disney's adorable robotic creations.
Additionally, Deutsche Bank has announced plans to reduce its workforce by 2,000 employees, accompanied by a substantial decrease in the number of branches.
Prince William dons military attire during his visit to British soldiers stationed in Estonia. Donald Trump expresses his willingness for the United States to join the Commonwealth as an associate member. NATO plans to request a 30% increase in military capabilities from Europe and Canada.
The United States is set to investigate Chinese telecommunications companies that it believes may present security threats, while the Federal Communications Commission (FCC) is examining whether Huawei and other Chinese companies are attempting to bypass restrictions. Additionally, a French regulatory body has instructed Eutelsat to cease transmitting Russian channels associated with the sanctioned entity. Meanwhile, Comac is intensifying its competition with Boeing and Airbus by planning to increase the production capacity of its C919 aircraft.
Received approval from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration for the groundbreaking adaptive deep brain stimulation system, designed specifically for individuals suffering from Parkinson's disease. Additionally, research indicates that the bacteria Methprosnitzi may influence the relationship between consuming citrus fruits and experiencing depression. Furthermore, studies have revealed that individuals who use cannabis are at a significantly increased risk of having a heart attack, with those under the age of 50 being more than 6 times more likely to experience such an event compared to those who do not use cannabis.
NVIDIA is planning to establish a research center focused on accelerated quantum computing. Meanwhile, Tencent is reducing the speed at which it deploys GPUs, as DeepSeek assists in extracting greater performance from a smaller number of accelerators. Additionally, Cloudflare has introduced AI Labyrinth, an innovative strategy that employs AI-created content to decelerate, perplex, and deplete the resources of AI crawlers and other bots that disregard no-crawl instructions. Apple has decided to continue the series Severance with a third season. A bidding war has started for the rights to adapt the popular video game Split Fiction into a movie. Scientists have developed a new map that provides a more detailed view of an ice-free Antarctica than any previous maps. Bloomberg indicates that cryptocurrency exchanges are considering a return to India as regulators suggest a potential shift in policy. Additionally, Coinbase is reportedly in advanced negotiations to acquire Deribit, a platform specializing in derivatives. Furthermore, the U.S. Treasury has lifted sanctions on Tornado Cash following a defeat in an appellate court case.
Asserts that news content holds no value for its advertising operations, following a trial that excluded 1% of search results across 8 European Union markets. Meanwhile, Meta has been observed experimenting with AI-generated comments on Instagram. Additionally, Apple is facing a lawsuit for allegedly misleading consumers with its Apple Intelligence product.
The restaurant that has held a Michelin star for the longest time in the world has lost one of its stars. A Klimt portrait depicting an African prince, which had been missing, has been found and displayed at an art fair. An iceberg the size of Chicago has detached from Antarctica, exposing an ecosystem that was previously unknown.
North Korea intensifies its cyber warfare efforts by establishing a new research center dedicated to developing AI-driven hacking technologies. Meanwhile, China introduces a formidable deep-sea cable cutter, which is said to have the potential to alter the global balance of power. Additionally, Donald Trump praises Boeing for its role in constructing the Air Force's upcoming F-47 fighter aircraft.
Research conducted by OpenAI and MIT has identified connections between feelings of loneliness and the utilization of ChatGPT. Wired has reported that approximately 47% of the content published on Medium is considered to be of low quality, attributed to AI generation. Originality AI has revealed that more than 40% of the posts on Facebook are likely to have been created using artificial intelligence.
In the United States, lawmakers are preparing a new bill that could potentially alter Section 230, which currently holds the speaker accountable for harmful speech rather than the platform hosting it. Meanwhile, X is taking legal action against India in a new battle over content removal. Additionally, Italy is requiring Google to manipulate DNS under its stringent Piracy Shield law. Google has discovered 10,000 fraudulent listings on Google Maps and has initiated legal action against a suspected group of scammers responsible for these listings. Meanwhile, Spotify has taken steps to block pornography that manages to reach the top of its podcast rankings. Additionally, Perplexity AI is expressing interest in acquiring TikTok with the intention of making its algorithm open source. They claim that they would reconstruct TikTok's algorithm and incorporate community notes features as part of this acquisition.
FCC Commissioner Carr has issued a warning that he may obstruct mergers and acquisitions. FCC Commissioner Carr has issued a warning that he may obstruct mergers and acquisitions involving companies that have diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives. Boxing is set to be part of the sports lineup for the Los Angeles 2028 Olympic Games. The new president of the International Olympic Committee is planning to initiate discussions regarding Russia's possible re-entry into the Olympics.
ESAR Aerospace has secured an NCAA permit for its launch and is now prepared for its inaugural test flight, marking the first orbital launch vehicle flight from continental Europe. There have been remarks that China is constructing new ships at an unprecedented rate to boost its car exports, with China's 8,600 car carrier setting a new record for construction speed. A year prior, China's electric vehicle manufacturers placed a record number of ship orders to facilitate car exports. Coca-Cola has introduced